Hello and welcome to 5 of the Week. We're coming to you hot like the season 39 UNC Tar Heels, straight from the top of your dome. It's episode 16 and we're proud to have a returning guest. For a moment here you can have your guess at who the returning guest is. It's not Danger Golding. But we also have a podcast debutante, a long time coming. It's Didi of Ice joining the 5 of the Week universe. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Didi of Ice is the... well, we can get to it in a moment. He's Didi of Ice for now. And we also have my trusted co-host, actually with a co-host status, a Cryptic Pancake.
Oh, it's me. I'm a Cryptic Pancake. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Same as ever was. And the returning podcast guest, he vowed to do every single podcast this summer. Summer's been going on for quite a few weeks, but he and I may have differing definitions of summer. So here's Taivo, everybody.
Hello everyone, this is Taiwo. My summer has not started yet. I'm still in school. I'm here for this pod.
It's just sad.
Yeah, I think he's trying to keep quiet or something, but enough of that. As continuing on our trend, we can get to know our guest. Taivo we can get to know at a better time if he's going to be on every single podcast this summer. But of Didi of Ice, what's your current status? What's your SBA story, and what's your history with sim leagues in general, if you have any?
For Sim League history, this is actually my first league. Just in general, I joined via the season 33 Reddit drive, and a lot of my time, more than it should. I am the AD of the Kentucky Wildcats of, and the soon-to-be expansion GM of the Pittsburgh Ironmen, coming in.
So tell us a bit more about your time as the athletic director for the University of Kentucky. There's been some ups and downs, mainly downs, I guess.
Mainly downs, yes. I came in at season 35 to replace Jordan, who had 2 seasons in. Came in with 0 experience, no idea what I was doing, how to do it, or any plan. I had no idea I was in line for a job. It just sort of happened, and I was brought in. I accepted the offer, obviously, because I thought, why not? It'd be fun. And a lot of just getting used to it, figuring out what works, what doesn't, a lot of what doesn't, and just trying to make something work in a franchise without much success.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly how it went with me too. Like 2 seasons in, I just got to the SBA. Doc got promoted to NCAA president and asked me if I want to take over Notre Dame. And then since then, I've also just been trying to figure stuff out.
Co-president.
Co-president, yes, with 11-11. And as I said, we can talk about Taivo's history with sim leagues. That's gonna be a whole podcast in itself, I believe. But we can move on to our weekly topics now that it's the season ongoing again. So we can talk about the top teams in the NCAA so far, with 4 teams gone, I believe. So it's mainly the Syracuse Orange, Maryland Terrapins, Blue Devils, Duke Blue Devils, and Arizona Wildcats, who are the divisional leaders, but also the Connecticut Huskies, who have a 17-5 record, but are trailing or are below the Syracuse Orange in the Big East because of the games played, yada yada, scheduling. So, is any of these teams the divisional leaders so far surprises to you, or are they pretty much in line of what you thought they would be?
Nothing seems too surprising. The only shock I would say is both UConn not in the lead of their division and the Washington Huskies not in the lead of their division. I expected both up due to just the number of uncaps they have, the skill at each position was sort of seen as their seasons to win.
Yeah. So I also definitely, the Huskies, they've kind of been the laughing stock of the league. I don't know, ever since I joined, they've always been like 2 of the worst teams in the NCAA. But now they're all doing, or both of them are doing pretty good. And I guess that's nice to see. And then also the Blue Devils, they're also kind of surprising to me just because of how bad they were doing in preseason in Maui. But I guess that had to do with matchup then and whatever.
Yeah, the Duke Blue Devils did not have the same starting lineup or the same game plan for the Maui or Sunshine Slam, whichever they took part in, I can't remember. So
It was Maui, I believe.
yeah, from there on it's been pretty smooth sailing, 15 wins and 5 losses so far. And Taivo, what do you think about the top teams so far? Are they indicative of the preseason expectations or what you expect going forward?
I think they'll stay the same. Doesn't the teams in the league right now are all good, except for the Pac-6 one because that's close. But at the same time, I don't trust Washington because they're 2 uncapped, 1 IA. So I think they'll stay the same, all of them.
So yeah, Washington was not basically in the teams I named, but had a lot of preseason hype behind them. Their 2 uncaps are Chris Hunt, Bobby Buckets. Is that so? Yeah.
They also have Trayvon Summers, if I recall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
he's
Deckard Krog,
All right.
the
So
symmetric dude.
they
had 4, but only 2 seem to be moving forward.
Yeah. All right. So that's what he meant. Yeah. So Joey brought them back for the off-season TPEs, but now they're offline again, is what seems to be the case. Bobby Buckets trying his hardest to carry the side game to game, sim to sim, with 32.1 points average per game. The Washington Huskies in this case, have a much upgraded defensive system from last season. Don't know if that's Joey's doing or just the general improvement in the players, but yeah, that remains to be seen how it holds up. Of the divisional leaders, definitely the Arizona Wildcats a surprise to be up there, but they've gotten a lot of great scoring out of Bishop Owing Jr. and then Chillzone's filler playing from the bench, mainly having to take on the center position for the majority of the game, I think, with this funky Congo dude being a bit, well, odd is what he wanted to be, so odd is what he'll get, but don't know how effective it will be prove to be in the long run.
Yeah. I also have one more surprising team. This time, like, we were focusing on more of the positively surprising teams. This time they're less positive, and it's the Indiana Hoosiers, or who, I don't really know how to pronounce it. But anyway, like last year, they made the playoffs without a single uncap, I believe. And I don't really think they lost anyone this summer, and for them to now be at 4-15.
Lost Philip Shabbat, who was
Okay.
by and large their best player.
Okay, well, that explains it
Looks
then, I
like
guess.
someone
But still,
else.
but
Yeah,
for losing one or two players only, that's quite the drop.
Yeah, alright, so Zen Morimoto, Sebastian van der Zijge, and whoever that
Also,
was.
I don't know how Sir Dabin Cheese gets all these player of the games on that team. He doesn't even have 75 TP.
Yeah,
Disgusting name, worst in the league.
yeah, I think it was.
Wasn't he one of your friends, Taiwo?
I think it was Robos, like.
Oh, maybe Robo.
Yeah.
It was
Name's a
was
lot better than
Kerms.
it was.
Kerms.
Yeah, it was Kerms.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay.
That's what it was. Yeah. So I think what's the case here is that Robo got recruits Nikola Jokic and Bobby Busak, but then he had to fuck off camping somewhere, wherever it was, for a 7, 8, 9 day trip. And then, yeah, not much progression from the first 2 days of
Yeah,
off
Nikola
season to
Jokic.
now.
Nikola Jokic
I mean-
just to never update again, it appears. He got his 30 beginning TP and then dipped.
That's kind of what I've experienced in the past. I've
Yeah.
like of guys that have updated a bit below 100 and then just left. That's happened 4 times before I got people that can update. So I know what it's all of that nothing on your team.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah, and with that, we can move on from the first topic to the middle topics of this week. We have 3 athletic directors here, so why not talk about their teams and their performances and expectations for the rest of the year. By coincidence, none of them's athletic directors were in the top 5 to 6 to 7 teams mentioned earlier, so you can go ahead and talk about Kentucky then. Big expectations going into the year, maybe more so to the next 2-3 years, but also why not this year? So what are your thoughts so far?
It's a lot of close games so far that I've been seeing. A lot of turnovers, a lot of just all, but it's been a very rough stretch. I think the schedule opens up a bit more middle of the season for us, and it's just a matter of getting stuff set properly and figuring out what works. Definitely not what I was expecting to see early on.
Yeah, have you been especially surprised with Shavon Williams' performances so far, or is it more in line of what you expected of him going into the season?
Expected a jump. I expected something in the 20 point per game range, but to see 28, 29, 30 is definitely higher than I expected, and it's very reminiscent of one of my former players, Dylan Harper, who ended up winning the Shooting Guard of the Year award. So who knows? I'm very happy to see him where he's at, and if he can uncap properly and earn past 250, he's gonna be a beast.
Yeah, and also getting in Jaron Flores to the starting lineup or to the roster, whatever kind of blunder it was at the start of the season, surely gonna help out a lot. He's already averaging 7 assists per game with almost 2 steals per game to add to that. So good looks. Definitely expecting an improvement from 5 wins and 12 losses, but not necessarily ultimate fireworks so far. So, University of Kentucky, I can go through the vital stuff. Well, it was a bit more disappointing than I thought. So, like I said, 5 wins from 17 games, 0-7 on the road, 1-6 inside the conference, or inside their own division, Big East division. Like you said, a lot of close games lost. For example, the Gonzaga Bulldogs have a point differential of minus 7.3 per game, but have 7 wins out of 21 games. But meanwhile, the Kentucky Wildcats have a point differential of only minus 0.8 with the aforementioned 5-12 record. So definitely a sign of better things to come. Moving on with the season. What about the Texas Longhorns? Obviously, the weight of the players who left for the SBA draft or left for whatever reasons is sure felt. Goat a playoff strat maker, showing his true colors in the regular season. But how do you approach this kind of a letdown from last season's March madness?
I'm just trying to make it to March right now. So I make it to March, and I have hope in my strats.
That's a very simple way to put it.
But I have 3 good recruits. All of them are gonna get to 199 and uncap well. Our center, with the last name no one can say, is gonna hit 199 next season. I'm not sure about my other 2 J's.
Yeah, that's Smeedy Werben Jagerman Jensen. So from now on, he's going to be known as Flyers fan or just Smeedy. But yeah, Flyers fan, a veteran on the VHL forums, I think. So he's got the grips of updating and earning TP for himself. What are your thoughts on the 2 J's you recruited? I think I can't remember which one it was. Brazikis, I think. Jay the Great.
Yeah.
Gave him a lot of good tips on how to approach player building and got along with him just fine during the recruiting season. But he's now playing for the Longhorns, and so what are your expectations for the 2 guys, their play styles, and
Well, Jay Nowitzki is a scorer, and then Brazikis he's a 2-way player. He's gonna be a great 2-way player. They're both the most active people in our locker room. And every sim they're always talking about each other's games and stuff and how many games we're winning. So yeah, I think they're gonna be good in NCAA and go on to great SBA careers.
Bradzik is a freak build, if I'm not mistaken, but Nowitzki a standard build. So Bradzik has a bit more athletics and athletics and TP advantage. They go hand in hand. So yeah, they'll definitely be. They have room to grow from here, and they're looking encouraging already.
Both of the J people on Texas are normal or a standard.
Oh, the index says Brazikis has 25 in his athletics, so you might Taiwo.
I'm on SBAO. It says he has 25 jumping, but and 25 quickness and 25. Why does he have 25s? Anyway, it says that he's a standard
He's
build.
He
just
created
stubborn.
as a freak, but he changed in SBAL.
Oh,
I don't know why stats are still like that.
So is this something we gotta contact someone about after this?
Yeah, imagine if we only had the eavesdroppers here still. They could,
Maybe they. I don't think it's on them to do that job.
yeah, but they could give insight on what's this, why is this happening, blah blah blah. But yeah, whatever.
well, I mean, he probably didn't want his TPE relocated, and so they just didn't even look at his like.
Oh yeah, so
Yes,
so the
it does
tag was
change
just
to-
changed to yeah.
Yeah,
All right, I see.
I mean that's my guess at least.
Yeah, and now you can guess which team I'm moving on to. It's the University of Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Oh.
Yeah. So. I don't know. We're kind of where I expected to be. We're a bit sub 500, but well, I guess we started off better last year, but that was a fluke. I'm guessing we'll end off better than we did last year, and then by next season, I should have at least 2 uncaps, probably 3. We'll be looking a lot better than my 2 guys I recruited last year. So what, season 38? Yeah. They're still very active and whatnot in the Discord at least, and they try and get some TP at least. Like they're not maximum, but it is what it is. Maybe once they hit 199. But the guy I recruited this year, he's been a little on and off. He said he's been busy with IRL stuff, which I obviously understand because like it's way more important than a stupid sim league. So no, just kidding. So yeah, we'll see how that develops, and then yeah, we'll see how it goes.
So those 2 guys, Tuma Jakande and Carter Plyler, and the newer recruit Shea Carroll Jr. Tuma
Yeah.
Jakande, of course, like you mentioned, probably longing for the days when he only had 35 TP allocated and scored consistent 25 points per game. But those days are long behind him.
Like, I'm convinced the sim has like names it just likes, like Tuma Jakande and Sir Dabs and Cheese, and he just gives them TPE randomly. Like, no, not even like Yon. It just like FBB3. Like
Yeah.
they just like names there in the algorithm.
Yeah, the opposing players who are supposed to guard them give them an easier pass if they are cool, like Sir Dabs and Cheese, definitely cool. Too much Akande, cool as well. So I can see that happening. The you said last season started off a bit better. Alluding to that was the Too much Akande killing spree. This season, the 2 biggest defeats for the Fighting Irish were 51-86 visiting the Oregon Ducks. The shot was not falling in that game. 27.5 field goal percentage for the team as a
Yeah.
whole.
This is a bad one.
And then to start the year, or was it the second game of the year? The second game of the year, playing the Virginia Cavaliers at home. The rigged sim meister Jogan himself, Hamp2
The
scored.
rugged sim.
Hmm?
The rugged sim. is
Yes,
what
the
he
rugged
said.
sim. I apologize. I'm slightly uncultured because I cannot stand the SBA Discord any longer. Like,
Like you look away for 5 minutes and suddenly there's like 150 messages, and I'm like, well, I'm not reading
90
all
of them are from Zeke.
Zeke and Oscar.
yes. Now that the Sixers, Zeke, both are in like European time zones, and obviously once it's morning here, it's early evening to late evening in Australia. So all 3 of them are online, and I think Sixers kind of is egging them on to entertain him. And yeah, I started it off by muting the general channel, but recently in the past 2 or 3 days it's moved to the SBA chat channel, so I've now also muted the SBA channel. But the tags always go through, I always get the notification. So I can't escape it forever.
I mean, it's just how they are, I guess. It's very interesting to see the league before them. It's very different in terms. Always had kind of drama and sort of idiotic statements being made all the time, but now they're just coming from different people.
Yeah, but this is not the old type of stuff like Sixers trying to prove his point to Emiras or JG.
Yes,
Chatting
UG was
shit.
a big one.
Or K-Dang being a nuisance. Like, this is just like
Shitpost.
113.
It's a lot more degenerate.
Yeah, it's like one 13-year-old and one, which is it, 16-year-old. They're like DMing each other in public, kind of like that kind of a vibe. Like
My bad.
And then they have a group chat with like Taiwo and Joey, and guess what the group chat's called? It's the Squad, I think. Or yeah.
yeah. Squad takeover. But yeah, there was this before the. I think I've gotten a screenshot. Taiwo.
Yeah,
This
I
is
think
not...
it was posted to General
Yeah.
by like Zeke or Oscar.
Yeah, I can't. I don't need to put this in the official version of the podcast. But yeah, I think it's a Goat Squad. But yeah, after there was a wave when the schools in United States were still on, where Mr. Splashman had a nice 20-hour streak of non-stop posting in the SBA chat channel. And I was on for the whole day. I can't remember why I was on for the whole day, but I was kind of like following through the general idiocy that MSM was performing. And I really thought me and him were gonna be the next prodigies of shit posting, but that's already reserved for Oscar and Zeke.
Immediately.
Fell off the throne pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of. It's just how things move and how folk are always just kind of being stupid, but very entertaining.
Very entertaining.
Yes, for the outsiders' pleasure.
Yep.
I
Just. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can appreciate the 6-hour episode of Zeke trying to install FBB3 on his computer.
Bro, that was, oh my god.
I couldn't believe anyone, even if he says, I'm 13, what do you expect? I can't believe anyone is that illiterate with computers. Like, it's just so...
Yeah.
I'm so far
Like,
gone.
when I was 11, I knew how to, like, use files just because of, like, Minecraft mods and whatnot.
Yeah, like...
That's just weird.
I used to host Counter-Strike 1.6 servers when I was
I love
12, 13, 14 years old, so it's not like I'm just too far gone myself to believe that
Yeah.
people would be that computer illiterate, but yeah, I guess it happens. So, sorry to cut off the absolute off-topic discussion, but we have a DD of Ice recruit, University of Kentucky, center, good left undone, also known as Stojan Moldanovic, joining the podcast recording. Welcome.
You're really gonna just call me a DD of Ice recruit? That's what's
Yeah.
happening.
Also, like, your most famous player these days is Stojan.
Product of
In
me.
the NCAA, yeah, it probably is.
Yeah, but during the season, this is like supposed to be an NCAA podcast. Like, even if you're the second most, well, the only other person voted as a MVP contender in the SBA. Out here, you're most known as Stojan Moldanovic, so get used to that.
The Kentucky eighth man.
I think you scored a basket, scored some points before KCCO did, so you can already
Before Swift. Yeah, it scored before Tyler Swift, so I think that makes you better than him.
yeah,
Just in
throughout
general.
your career, yeah, you're gonna be.
I mean,
like,
I hit some 3-pointers even though I haven't updated it yet, so that was pretty cool.
yeah, our guy in Gonzaga shot 50% for like 3 sims in a row, but then he was put to 3-point toggle off to preserve that percentage. He
That was the
already-
same with Tumaja Konde last year.
Yeah, so maybe you don't even need to. No reason to update your 3-point shooting above 35. Like, you've done a huge mistake on Finn Zenglein, and you've done a huge mistake on Shepard, and you've done a huge mistake on Marcedo. Like, I should just personally go put the toggle on for the next Simpson. Watch me.
I'm
splash.
gonna continuously update it to past 90 just so it really makes Amidas really mad.
So yeah,
Known hater of the 3-point system in general.
His first player was a 3-point shooter though that made the shot.
Yeah, 3-point's kind of weird sometimes. Like, one game, I said this like before on the podcast, I'm pretty sure. Like, one game you just shoot like 80% from 3, and then the next game you go 12.
I'm experiencing a lot of 3-point woe on my end due to my point guard with 83-point shooting less than 300, shooting 7 and 3s in the season.
Yeah, I actually shot better in the SBA than I did in the NCAA. Like, I
Wow.
shot way efficient last season.
that was Tuki Gravity, like I called him, like I called it whenever it was last week. But for GLU,
I mean, I'm not sure bad. I'm still in like the top 25, is it?
So for GLU, just a quick recap. We already went through 4 of the 5 topics, and we can just move on to the 5th, the common off-topic topic. We talked about the top teams in the NCAA so far, and then these guys' teams that they
The
are.
bottom teams.
Yeah. Well, Ty was not here. Taiwo was here, but we talked about UND, Texas, and Kentucky. I can't tell if it was that order. Probably not. But yeah, we did. So the most surprising, most interesting individuals of the NCAA season so far, and for the rest of the year, you can name drop anyone you like. I personally want to name drop once again Tyler Swift as the most average freshman center I've seen in a long while. What are your thoughts on the Washington Huskies center?
I guess I have to actually look at some stats here.
It's kind of surprising.
He's Tyler Swift.
Yeah.
I don't even
all of
I don't
4
even
points.
see him in the league leader stats anywhere. So
I mean,
Yeah,
should
my
I narrate
thoughts.
his? I can narrate his stats if you want.
yes.
Okay. So in 14.5 minutes, averaging 3 points, 0.6 offensive rebounds, 2.1 defensive rebounds, 1 assist, 0.9 turnovers, 0.5 steals, 0.2 blocks, and 40% field goal percentage, 36.7% free throw, and 11.8.
Yes, so here we have the most sought after center recruit of the recruiting season, doing absolutely nothing in the NCAA. Well done, everyone, for wasting your time.
Stojan was also highly touted.
Yeah, I was gonna say Stojan might be more sought after.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
GLU made his decision
Earlier on.
yeah, before
Yes.
the first
Yeah.
recruiting.
Yeah, I didn't
I
want
mean,
mine to affect any of the rookies coming in, like any of the first gens. I wanted mine to be out of the way and just not to interfere with any of that.
Hmm.
But
I
it's
mean,
funny
which
looking
makes me
at
happy.
Tyler Swift, his attributes. He's kind of updated the same stuff I have, but just not to the same extent.
Then again, you don't have Bobby Bucket stealing all of your stats.
Yeah.
No, I just don't really play though. So
Well, he doesn't either. So
Yeah.
both trash, but Stojan slightly less trash and a bit more meme worthy, if I may say so. Obviously, playing on
Mr. X
the
has a problem with that free throw percent though. It's pretty bad, isn't it?
How come?
I mean,
I don't think
always
there's any
look for
problem.
your 3-point before your free throw. Just saying, the tip that everyone loves.
I didn't touch my free throws till I got to the SBA.
Now that's
I mean,
also
if you want to be finals, gotta do or you gotta do 3-point.
Yeah. I mean, I shot like 70% from line in college. It's just you can't get fouled if you just choke up threes all the time, you know?
I just play like trash, so my free throw percentage not good. My 3-point percentage pretty good, but it's also on such limited attempts that it's kind of
yeah. I don't know if you catch the part where we discussed the LA Rail during the off-season podcast, but there was this conspiracy unveiled that the Tony Marcedo of the first two SBA sims of season 38, where he shot whatever it was, 52% from 3. Then Tony Marcedo's ego got the best of him, and he wanted to be slotted in the starting lineup, which is where the LA Rail season went to shit, and they did not make the playoff after lofty expectations early on. But that's some internal conflict we are not gonna take.
just saying. I think we're expecting to see more of him very, very soon.
So I have an observation based on a couple players I've seen before. Rookie seasons tend to have better 3-point shooting than the rest of your career because you're not that volume shooter guy.
All right.
My player is a pretty good example. He shot 499, I think, in his rookie season from 3. Stokes, I think, did something similar.
Yeah, the less you shoot, the more likely you are to make those baskets, I think.
Well, it's also that you're not an offensive option, so guys aren't like the other team isn't keying in on you versus the other 3 or 4 players on your team that they are. So if you have a good enough 3-point rating, it actually usually ends up being pretty good in your rookie season.
Yeah. So that might play into my dreams of probably or possibly becoming a 3-point shooter in my SBA career, because if I start out as a above average or at least SBA average inside scorer, but if I'm a scoring option later in my career, having 83-point shooting might not work in my favor after all. Like, I don't know if Sifa Dojbe is a scoring option on the Brooklyn Bullets. I would hope not, but if he is, then he's putting up good numbers from the 3-point line, even with 83-point shooting and a defensive build. So yeah, that might play into my future attribute
I mean,
decision.
If I understand it right, if you just update throwing but leave your jump shot the same, shouldn't your jump shot volume still remain lower, and you should still like try scoring inside more often than just shooting it?
Yes.
Typically, your highest of the three main scoring attributes, like your highest attribute, should be your highest volume.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
It's really easy to notice on the NCAA level where you have players with like, for example, 83 point shooting and 35 flat, everything else. They don't take a lot of any other shots and are very efficient because of they only take like open layups, open dunks, whatever, if they're a 3-point shooter. But then their 3-point shooting attempts are mainly always the highest volume.
Efficiency wasn't really a word we used a lot in Notre Dame as I was in college.
If I may bring up back to the sort of surprising players topic that was originally brought up, little Battle averaging less points than he did the season before, posting more turnovers without that big gain on assists. He's completely abandoned the 3-point game, but the results don't seem to be in his favor so far.
Oh yeah, did he respec his build finally?
He did a reroll completely from a shooting guard to a small forward.
Alright, yeah. Last season, 7.5 3-point attempts per game with 41% efficiency, and this season 0 attempts. Obviously, probably not any TPE in 3-point shooting this year, and yeah, the field goal percentage has gone up, but the point per shot efficiency by true shooting and point per shot standards obviously gone down with no 3-point shooting to his game. So yeah, I might have made a huge mistake selecting him as the most improved player in my predictions, because I did not keep track of his reroll thing at all. But yeah, well, just so happens I'm bad at predictions one more year again.
I actually did surprisingly well last year. For the fact that I did them myself, I was pretty proud.
For the all SBA first team, there seems to be a clear notion of in the prediction data that Koji Matsui is going to be the point guard of the year, Steven Shepard is going to be the shooting guard of the year, and then Seijun Suzuki is gonna get the small forward of the year vote, and then Tuki Lamont and Giovanni Owen Allen Tatum are gonna round out the front court. Did you have any deviations from this pattern, or?
Nope, I stuck with the plan.
Go
ahead.
I had Samuel Jr. as the best point. Even now, even with regression, he's spending all he's got to make sure this last season's good. So I think he may surprise people and go off completely.
I don't.
So to add to that, I think point guards where I was a little hung up as well. I ended up going Koji because I feel like it's his time. But Austin Jr. did bank enough that he's basically the same player that he was before. I just feel like Chicago has kind of brought his stats back down to reality, whereas they were ridiculous in Dallas. I think Koji is still that guy in Colorado where his stats are gonna pop out a little bit more. So I did go Koji there.
Even with the addition with Mr. X?
Yeah, he's still a rookie though. He's gonna have foul trouble, just like Simmons in Arizona had some foul trouble his first 3 years. He was a good scorer, but he was never like a 30+ scorer.
Yeah.
So Koji's still the man there.
Koji and Jackson Sharp the third are still clear and clearly the two best players, TP wise, and yeah, that means.
But I think the only
attributes-wise.
two unanimous ones are Shepard and Goat, because they're the two that are in the MVP race right now.
Yes,
Yes.
Just like Columbus was with Goat last year.
in the MVP race.
Yeah, it was Columbus versus Goat last year.
Why did Columbus get votes for?
He had good numbers. We weren't a top 3 team. We just barely made the playoffs. His numbers were just as good as, well, almost as good as Goat, so he had some consideration.
Yeah.
He won the Offensive Player of the Year for starters, right?
Oh yeah. I confused Columbus with Kingsbury. I was like
His
yeah.
the combination of his regression and his move to small forward versus power forward has really actually kind of hurt his numbers this year. It's just, I think it's more the small forward part. I don't know if you saw my article earlier. Nobody's ever won MVP at small forward, ever.
Really?
It's the hardest position to have good stats in.
Tim doesn't really like small forward that much compared to the others.
Yeah, like he does like them to an extent. Like they're the best role players, basically. That's how it seems to go. That the small forwards are the best role players. Like, even if you think about it in the traditional sense, that they're not bigs, but they're also not guards. So they're just in there, the 3 position. So I think there's some of that notion in the programming of Fast Break Pro as well. That the small forward is the fill position, wing defender position, blah blah, but can't handle the LeBron James kind of scoring load in the sim engine.
I feel it's gonna be a small forward.
So on that note, who do you think might ever be the first small forward MVP winner in this league?
My next player.
I'm
I'm gonna start advertising him now, so that I don't have to do it like in the now the way Austin and Zeke are doing it. Because by then I'll have everyone brainwashed to just vote for me by default.
Yeah.
I just think it's not anyone in this current SBA guys. I think we need to go a bit deeper. Small forward.
I think the best current guy would be either Baylor or Lamont, but they don't.
Yeah,
If they
Toki
play
plays
that small
power.
forward, I don't think they have. Tuki might have the numbers if he plays a small forward. I think is he playing power forward right now though?
I believe so. If not, voting him at power forward would have been a bit of an L.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure he's playing power forward.
I think Tuki's time's running out because I think Ace has got another guy in the works.
Yeah, he
He's
has.
in his. Yeah, so well, just on that note, Tuki, Baylor, Sharp, Shepard, and Go are all in their last year before regression.
Mm.
That was their
Big.
draft class. It was a very top-heavy
I
draft
mean-
class. It wasn't a deep one though.
This class is looking very deep.
Once
I-
again, yes. Yeah.
Teams entered into the pool of 200 plus. Some of those are fillers, but I think only 4 or 5 are.
Yeah.
Or 35, my bad.
The season 38 draft was also phenomenal, especially that 9th pick. Whoa.
I mean, pick 9s are always good.
Yeah, I mean, I already like all the wings except for Taiwo that were drafted ahead of me. I passed 5th now in total TP in my draft class. Yeah.
So of the recent draftees of the last 2, 3, 4 years, who might play small forward, are like Memphis Carlisle, Max Winchester, then Detroit Velvet Smooth, Isaiah Green, Joey Hatfield, Dante Zarazel, and then of the most recent draft class, Dimitris Marquis Xavier, Orlando Villoria III, Austin Ronick, and then like Roy Johnson, Adams's player Mallard, and then I don't think even those are the top guys of their draft class in the position. But aside from possibly Winchester at shooting guard, I don't think any one of them has the league MVP potential in the future. Like,
I'd say Winchester if he were to play small forward, but he seems to be more of a shooting guard.
Yeah.
Much to my dismay.
I mean, you're not there long anymore.
He's going to be switching more to small forward soon. To reflect
I mean,
in
I
the
do
start.
have the ability to change my DC right now, so I'm small forward for the rest of the year.
You could.
That's like what I was thinking. If you have like some player who's like clearly gonna win like his positional award, like with Tuki for example, like what if all the players on Chicago were like, okay, like I'm gonna play Tuki at power forward until predictions are locked, and then the rest of the season I put small forward. All of you guys put him for small forward of the year.
Well, what did you think I did with the Arizona players the last couple of years?
Yeah. Amita played all 5 positions.
He got votes for center of the year because I played him there to start the season once.
Oh man.
yeah, and something that also crossed my mind was playing someone at a disadvantageous position in the depth chart, but for them to get the positional award, and then during the playoffs play them at the so-called better position. Like for Tuki, for example, play him at small forward if he's the only actual good above 1.1k TP small forward, and then change him back to power forward for the postseason and work with the actual good depth chart. But that's pretty far in the meta thinking.
Of all the small forwards who could win MVP, I think we need to wait for Mo's small forward to take the lead. And then I think
Lonnie's
that's the one.
retiring soon.
Magnum's shooting guard. He'll bring in small forward and actually play with that.
Oh, the one he's bringing in, you mean?
So I think that's the guy with the biggest shot. Because Mo's very, very good players, and I think that goal is something that may drive him to build specifically for that.
I can think of 2 in the past that might have had a chance at doing it at small forward, but they won it at power forward. Moses McAdoo could have done it at small forward, but he won all of his stuff at power forward. And then Marquise Washington won everything at power forward and center, but I actually started him out as a small forward.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he could have done it. And then there was Gary Jamerson, could have played small forward, but he won everything at shooting guard as well. So that's why there's been no, like, small forward is the hardest thing in the engine. It just deteriorates. Like, you go up to power forward or you go down to shooting guard, you get better stats automatically.
Yeah.
And it's an engine thing. Sim engine thing.
So
Just gotta wait for BB and everything will open up.
yeah, so the main takeaway here is not to create someone who can play as a small forward if you want to win anything in the SBA. Of course, every team needs a small forward to fill out the depth chart, but yeah.
I think from a team standpoint, it's a really important position. Just it doesn't equate to MVPs.
Yeah, like I said, it's the most important role player position. Like, you can't have a role player as a point guard, like, or a starting center, it seems like. But you can well enough have a good quality role player as a small forward. And yeah, that's always the backbone of the team, good role players, or the fourth options, or the...
And to be an effective small forward, you have to not only invest in post defense, but perimeter defense and stealing and blocking and like basically everything.
Yep.
So a lot of people create small forwards thinking they're going to be LeBron James and just be good at everything. You can't. It takes a long time to get to that.
A lot of updates in my time of but 2 or 3 TPE into everything, and I just die inside.
Yeah,
God,
this.
it's happened to others.
Yeah, last week I was making the sim file for NCAA League year, and there was a shocking amount of forum veterans on their recreates and fillers who did not put the 3-point toggle off, and then a shocking amount of people who just improved their attributes, like 5 in each or
Like
6 in
KCCO
Yes.
and his like 11% he shot from 3.
Yes, just like that.
Terrible idea, and no one should do it.
And J. Cole then had his 3-point toggle off, while his character Dougie Thomas has 85 3-point shooting. So it goes both ways.
Yep.
Kind of. Yeah. So. Alright, so Good Left Undone is leaving for now. The podcast is also
Leaving.
not basically leaving. We can, between the three of us, discuss the potential most improved players.
Robo's coming on in like the next 5 minutes to claim his 6 TP for being in it for another 2 minutes.
Alright. No. So, to cap off the show this week, we also have another athletic director joining us. It's a Robotastic after a long while of doing something and
Hi.
not taking care of the Indiana Hoosiers. Welcome.
Oh, hi. I'm a bit sick today.
Yeah.
That's why I could come on the podcast.
Yeah, so working in your favor, even when it's not working in your favor, that's just life sometimes. So, when all the people were on, we were talking about finishing our thoughts on the SBA predictions this year. We were moving on to the Rookie of the Year. Who did you have as your vote for the Rookie of the Year?
I don't really remember.
You know, you can check.
Wait, I'm on my
Crazy
phone right
idea.
now. Let me.
So it's probably Austin Ronick, JJ Harklewood, Ephodos Pararexis, or Mr. X. Like,
I think it was Mr. X. I think I picked Mr. X.
yeah.
This is on the presumption that he doesn't hold out, right?
No, I think he's playing. He's played 11 games so far, so.
Yeah.
Alright, because
Holding
I
out now
remember
would be wrong.
before he was saying that he wasn't gonna play.
No one was saying anything. It was just smoke and mirrors. Yeah, I also had Ephodos Pararexis at first, but then I changed my prediction to Mr. X after the first team. And like I explained off air, the thought process was that Mr. X has a higher ceiling during this one season to perform, as he already has his fouling up quite high, actually extremely high, and he can play more and more minutes and is not sharing the minutes with a similar center or frontcourt player as Ephodos Pararexis is sharing the minutes with his brother Oplon Pararexis. So Ephodos Pararexis was your choice, though. Pancake wasn't.
Yeah, as until like 3 minutes ago. I also changed it to Mr. X. I figured I'd bandwagon.
Yeah, TP is more valuable than loyalty to your teammates.
Yeah,
don't
and
let-
I mean also, your thought process was pretty sound with him. I did know he was like improving his fouling.
yeah,
and
it's like 9.
Being as his main problem this far was they just couldn't stay on the court, and with that being changed, I'm sure he'll be up.
Yeah,
I
Weird.
wanted to pick Kermskis. I mean Orlando, Valoria, but he's not starting, so.
yeah, tough luck. It's probably not extremely valuable to select him. No one has, actually.
And no one. The third pick in the draft, and no one selected him.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, they probably have some kind of inside information about the New York Rail depth chart, whoever that may be. There's a couple of known moles in that organization, starting from the top down. But then for the most improved player, I was the first person to fill out the SBA predictions alongside Jace Fan 26. And
Oh yeah, I remember you talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who it was.
Everyone copied you.
Yeah, I don't know who he picked. Rather, I don't know who he picked as the most improved player, but I picked Ken Armstrong just off the bat because I thought he's an intriguing player, but did not have an exceptional season to shine or show off his talent these last 2 seasons. So this might be the breakout year for him to get onto the scene as a big man scorer and big man all-around rebounder, that sort of thing.
What did you change it to?
I didn't change it to anything. It's still Ken Armstrong.
Oh, you're still going to Ken Armstrong?
Yeah. So also thought that 46 people are hot on my trail, as 47 people have voted for Ken Armstrong. Then the most astute scholars of the SBA world, the more knowledgeable monks, have selected Jay DeVorge, who has recently moved on to the Atlanta Vipers and is their starting center or power forward, but I think center. And then DB DeBrat, who also moved on from the Los Angeles Rail to Dallas Outlaws. Yes, that's it. So they both...
he moved to Philadelphia.
No, yeah, of course.
Did he?
Yeah.
Bro, why I think he was going to Dallas.
Oh my god, I knew something that you guys didn't. What is this magic?
Oh, okay, good. Yeah,
SBA crashed for me too. I'm trying to look at what my predictions were.
Oh, well, whatever. So...
Well, my most improved was DeBrat.
Yeah.
I don't remember who I'm pretty sure it was DeBrat. He's having a very good season in Philadelphia.
Yeah, DeBrat, a kind of an unknown commodity to me personally. Of course, I know DB25, but of the last few seasons of the LA Rail, he and James Knight kind of fell to the background more so as I've grown as my relationship.
DeBrat was a second round pick too.
Yeah, might just have been, but as my relationship with you and Danger Golding has grown, and then the GM player and former savior of my college squad, Max Winchester, they're probably they were the top 3 most interesting players on the rail for me of these past seasons. So DB and 50 Nation, James Knight kind of have fell into the background, and
It feels good to start, to be honest.
Imagine going into your second year as a first overall selection and still not starting, like the Mark Elfwood story.
I'm starting now.
Yeah, but if you weren't, like...
Oh yeah, if I weren't, yeah, that'd be pretty sad.
Yeah. Imagine if Shane comes back and signs with the Chiefs for another year.
Shane?
Yeah, Shane.
You mean like Sean?
Yeah, but we've gone over this multiple times already in the last few weeks, so it's Shane.
It's Seayn, right?
Yeah, I think so. But
that's
I don't know if it was Bio or who, but they had knowledge of Shane telling them it's pronounced Shane, not Shine.
Yeah, and it was in the last podcast.
Yeah.
Was it?
Wait, did he come back on just to say that his name was being pronounced wrong?
No.
No. It was
Bio knew
Shane
it
already.
already.
Sean is his brother, and that he's Shane, but it's written Sean.
Yeah.
His brother.
Yeah, his like IRL brother is called Sean, but he's Shane.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But yeah, imagine if Shane comes back and signs an extension with the Chiefs, and I,
The
as
proper
the
pronunciation of his name is actually Cian.
CN, I'm not gonna
Yes.
go that far. Shane is what I'm
Cian.
Yeah.
CN. CN.
Cian or Cian.
CN
'Cause it's the
Audani.
C, S-E-A-C, and then Y-N, Yun.
Yin.
What?
Yin.
Yes, Y-N,
Bro, you
Yun.
broke that up really weirdly.
Cian.
Yun in Chinese.
But it's like
Y-U-N.
SEA is like SEAN is Sean. Why would the Y turn into C?
CN.
Wait, but it's S-E-A-Y-N. The Y is in the middle, so you don't break it up with it just S-E-A-N.
But turning kit.
I think
I don't
the Y
like
is
it.
meant to be silent. The Y is just there to make it sound more fancy. Or
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
it look more
Irish
fancy.
spelling, like they're too drunk to write the birth certificate down correctly, so it's just.
Oh yeah, I had a friend. It's pretty rare. And his middle name was Tig, and it was spelled T-A-D-G.
Okay. I mean, that's cool.
He actually
That's
had
cool.
his first name, last name, and middle name was all started with T.
My name's Irish. I
Oh.
think.
A cryptic pancake.
90% sure.
Basically, all American names are not American names. So there's your tidbit of the day. So if you're called
Adam.
Adam, definitely comes from Hebrew, not American or English.
It's Adam, actually.
That's K-damn, actually. So
We're talking about random names, like
yes,
not yeah.
where was Robotastic when he was needed to save the podcast earlier? With that, I'm not gonna finish the thought I had about still being on the bench next season after Shane comes back. Well, there you go. I just finished it.
You don't want to speak into existence.
Yes.
Are you on the bench right now?
Yeah.
You guys are
Oh, why are
bench
people
bros.
picking you for Rookie of the Year then?
Hey. Alright, let's wrap it up. You can ask the question in a moment after the outro's done. So,
Alright, yeah.
from all of us here today, Didiovice, Taiwo, Good Left Undone, Robotastic, he's here, he can say bye. How diddly ho.
Gotta get that sweet TPE.
Yeah, well, this is already, this is 10 minutes. Like, 10 minutes is the expected length of a podcast on the SBS
Exactly.
forum.
I got him, boys.
Yeah, so, and a Cryptic Pancake.
Yep. It was a fun one. A lot of different people. I think
This is like
the
the
most
most-
guests we've ever had on one show. But it was fun recording.
And,
Didn't like Nano and E come on as well?
No, they
that-
were just listening.
yeah, they were sitting here.
Oh.
For 5 of the week and for Okocha Star, it's Okocha Star. We'll catch you again, hopefully never. Bye!